All right. It is Tuesday, and we are in the park. Not to suggest that they'll stay this way, but the skies are clear and blue. That might be important for at least two reasons today. One, more people will go to the polls to vote for our next mayor and other initiatives. And I think tonight is the start of a 3-day supermoon. There's three this year, one in October, one in November, one in December. It sounds like the one in November this week is supposed to be the biggest of the three, or the closest to the Earth. That'd be cool. It looks like they are still cleaning up after the marathon, at least in the park. I took a couple pictures yesterday of the finish line. That was still up. I think that was up until like midnight on Sunday, Monday. I think the last runner crossed the finish line in like 15 hours. The street has mostly been cleaned up, like not in the park, but the actual streets. There's still some barriers up, and I'm pretty sure that those sidewalk blocks are still up. Yeah, it looks like the stands are still up in the park. I'm assuming that's where people sat to cheer them on as they crossed the finish line. Yeah, they still have a lot more work to do. I'm a little surprised, although it did take them a week to put everything up. And more or less, the park is back to normal. Lots of runners, lots of delivery folks on bikes, lots of cyclists. You know, you get bit by a dog once, and that feeling never goes away. See the city bike spots are open up again. My guess is they'll probably leave a bunch of this stuff for Thanksgiving. Like not the fencing, but some of the barriers, they'll probably just leave out, and that way they can pull them over. And they're heavy stuff and they're chained together, so no one's really going to pick them up and walk off with them. Oh, there's a puff of a pink cloud. Yeah, the sun hasn't quite come up yet. Those buildings, those east-facing buildings on the west side, don't have that glow yet. It's probably still in the 30s, 40s this morning. It's definitely the skies are lit. Just no sunrise yet. I just had a note that said, or an alert that said, I just finished a 22-minute mile. And in all transparency, I did not stop during that time. Actually, it's not true. I stopped once to let some guy pass me, maybe twice to let some guy pass me, but it wasn't for like taking photos where I was standing there for a long time. I probably usually do 18, 19-minute miles, go across 2 miles. Yeah, the lights on the tower of the San Remo are still on. The towers. Yeah, so the sun's not going to come up for a little bit longer. I think they said 6:26, which was about 5 minutes ago. Yeah, there's the sun. It's starting to hit one of the towers. Maybe my reference to sales yesterday was more about selling than it was sales itself. And for somebody who's built his career in marketing, communications, technology, sales is probably the last thing I want to talk about, at least from a traditional perspective. However, I do believe in the notion that everybody is in sales. And whether you're selling to clients, selling to internal team members, selling to executives, we're all selling. Doesn't mean that we're all salespeople. The movie Glengarry Glen Ross is a terrific movie. B, very, very truthful. As a salesperson, I've run sales teams in my past. as a sales leader, your goal is to make sure your team, your sales team, is realistically always closing. That means that they're only focused on qualified conversations, generally are not focused time on cold selling. And in order to do that, really need a organizational understanding of sales. Yeah, those NYPD sidewalk blocks are still out. Those will be out till Thanksgiving. And it looks like some of the barriers are still in Columbus. Imagine those will stay too. There's a group I'm working with, a very large marketing group, and there is a very traditional relationship between marketing and sales. The feeling from sales that marketing's job is to slow everything down, and not for, the feeling is not for quality control or not for bettering the sales process or bettering the relationships with clients and prospects and partners. It's to slow the process down so they can have control over it, which is insanely frustrating and insanely dumb to think that marketing folks understand the relationships between sales folks and their clients, their contacts. Is ridiculous. We're not sending these messages on behalf of the organization, we're sending on behalf of the individual. And yet, a marketing team to come in and suggest, recommend, require the message to be told like this, it's just a recipe for failure. And ultimately, if your salespeople aren't pulling in hefty commissions because they're closing deals, I mean, sorry to say that you're all going to lose out. So yeah, so I think this week I'll keep diving into the sales, the relationship between marketing and sales, just selling in general. I mentioned a selling season is coming to a close. I do believe that, and maybe provide a couple of options on how we could just be better at what we're doing. If that's a pod strategy, which I've seen in the past, and understanding that every organization is different, at least to try to find that those guardrails on how all this can work together. We all have our niche focus and niche deliverables, and all of our niche deliverables and niche focus cross over other teams. So how do we make that process work even better? So it's Tuesday. The email newsletter comes out on Sunday. I'll drop a couple of notes in Substack and maybe throw a couple of updates into the website at uponconsideration.com. I'll see you there.